me welcome Alisha Hemmingson Runckel, Vice President of eCommerce at Blueprint. Alisha is a senior e-commerce and digital growth leader with more than 15 years of experience scaling direct-to-consumer brands and driving consumer-centric digital strategy. At Blueprint, she leads global e-commerce, digital performance, and customer experience, blending data-driven insights with rapid experimentation to translate complex products into seamless online journeys. Her work consistently drives growth, conversion, and long-term customer engagement. Previously, Alisha held senior leadership roles at Spring Foods, Laird Superfood, and Hannah Anderson, with career highlights including Laird Superfood's IPO, the sale of Hannah Anderson to L. Catterton, and a $60 million fundraise for Blueprint. Help me welcome Alisha.
What's up, everybody? Hi. I don't even know what I need to say. You just covered it. I mean, we're done, right? Really excited to be here tonight. Thank you all for hanging out and wanting to have an interest in e-commerce. I'm pretty excited. So I know that a lot of you are in the startup phase, and I know that right now e-commerce seems really confusing and overwhelming, and it is. So my hope is that by the end of tonight, when you leave, you feel like you at least have some insights that can help you make the decision as to whether your business is right for e-com or not. And if you decide that it is, you can hopefully make better decisions than I have made over the years. Less expensive mistakes, at least. So let's see. How do I do? Hey, that's me. All right, so let's get into it. I'm Alisha. As you just heard, I am serving as the Vice President of e-commerce for Blueprint. I don't know how many of you are familiar with that company or Brian Johnson. Yeah, show of hands. Brian Johnson. Okay, cool. If you watched the Netflix documentary last January called "Don't Die," then you know who my boss is, which is great. It's kind of weird, but I'm here really because, as you can see, my specialty here is listed as selling weird shit online, and I'm really good at it. Um, what I've learned is that weird can actually be an advantage online if you understand the fundamentals, and so that is what we're going to dig into tonight. So for the next 20 minutes or so, we're going to cover my origin story. I'm going to give you a little background about where I started and how I got to working for somebody who changes blood with their son. And then we'll get into what actually makes a product viable for e-commerce. And this is really where most people, especially in the startup phase, get it wrong. So I want to dig in a little bit there. And then I want to talk about channel strategy, whether you choose to go through an owned D2C business or through Amazon. Both have pros and cons. I want to talk a little bit about those. And then finally, I'm going to give you guys access to some financial tools that I use on the daily basis to make better decisions about my business and how I operate. So I do want to address the elephant in the room, and that is that you are at a PubTalk startup event in 2026, and you want to probably talk about AI, and I'm not going to do that. Um, the truth of the matter is, anybody who claims to have the playbook for AI right now is full of shit. It's just what it is. What what works today is probably irrelevant tomorrow. The best innovation for e-commerce with AI has not even been conceived of yet, let alone invented. And so, instead of chasing the shiny thing, I want to give you guys tools that are actually helpful and actionable in your day-to-day business right now. This is not to say that I don't use AI every day in my work. I do. I mean, for fuck's sake, 2 slides ago, you saw an AI headshot of me. So, um, at, at Blueprint, AI is effectively working as a business partner for us. It's the undercurrent of everything that we do. It's going to change and revolutionize the way that we do our business. But when I was first starting out, none of the things that we're using AI for today would have been useful. So again, I'm focusing on laying that foundational groundwork for you. All right, so getting into it. 2009. Hey, that was the best year to graduate college ever, right? Uh, yeah. In my coursework, I split my attention between real estate finance and digital marketing. I worked my way through college with a job in commercial real estate development and graduated with big plans to have a long and prosperous career in that field. And then that happened. It was so cool. So unfortunately, I was laid off before I ever really started, and suddenly I had to figure out what else I was going to do with my life. At the time, it felt catastrophic. It felt like a disaster. I was very poor and had zero job prospects, and the market wasn't really looking great. So. Um, I took a little time to reflect, and looking back, it was the best thing that ever happened to my career. I had a chance to reinvent myself from the ground up. I knew that I loved understanding what makes a business operate, how to build it. I was just passionate about, like, how do you know what to do, and how do you know where do you get your products, and how do you know, like, how your financials should look. I was very curious, and then I was also very passionate, still am, about problem solving. And at the end of the day, to be honest with you, those are the two characteristics that it takes to be really good at e-commerce. So, before I reveal too much, even though you guys have already heard a lot about my background, we're just going to play like you didn't hear any of it. Um, does anyone have a guess on what my first foray into e-commerce was? No. What was I selling? I was selling something. What? Shoes. Good guess. Pet food? No. What? Oh God. That somebody else grabbed my dad for selling timeshares. Don't worry. He bought them all. All right. Ready for the big reveal? It was knitting needles and yarn and thread and quilting fabric. That is right. When I joined Crafts Americana Group, which is the parent company to Knit Picks and Connecting Threads, the company, oh God, this is aging myself so much. The company had been operating as exclusively a catalog company. And they brought me in because they had these big, lofty goals of moving the business online, which is a tall order when you consider that the core demographic for these businesses are 65-year-old women. And this was 16 years ago. So, what was great about this job and the company, though, is that along with a very small team, we got to build something great from scratch. And we were really good at it. We grew this business from like $1.5 million a year to 30 million bucks. And again, we were selling knitting needles. So it was good. It was good. Um, for context, I know nothing about knitting or quilting or sewing or anything about any of it, but I did learn some very important things when I was at this company. The most important thing is that passionate hobbyists are the best customers. They are loyal, they're repeat buyers, and they desperately want to be your friend. They want to be all up in your community, and it is amazing. So, after 4 amazing years in with the company, I had my son, who is to this day the light of my life, and it was amazing. I was bringing him to work with me at Crafts Americana Group, changing diapers in the meeting rooms and nursing in my office, and it was fine. Um, but Crafts Americana was based in Vancouver, and I was working in and I lived in Southeast Portland. So I was spending about 2 hours a day commuting back and forth, and that just meant less time with my son. So in 2015, I found a job closer to home with a company called Hannah Anderson. And does anybody know what they sell? Let's go. Let's go. Really, really, really expensive baby pajamas. That's right. That's right. So my time at Hannah was awesome and very eventful. While I was there, we were sold and bought by L. Catterton. We replatformed our e-commerce business from a .NET to Salesforce Commerce Cloud. We onboarded a new email service provider, and we migrated to an entirely new ERP, which don't ever do that. So suffice it to say, after 3 years of working 60 to 80-hour weeks, having my son basically living part-time at the office with me, I was really relieved when on a Tuesday afternoon, I got a call from a nice man named Ben who lived in Boston and who wanted to know if I was willing to pack my family up and move from Portland to Bend. And the first thing that I asked was, to sell what? And he said, vegan coffee creamer, powdered coconut based coffee creamer with, here's the best part, this is my favorite part, with a half naked surfer on the cover of the package. My, my years at Laird were some of the best of my career. I truly learned the ins and outs of growing a complex business into a shiny unicorn. It was an incredible ride, one that I'll cherish forever. Thanks largely to the success of our e-commerce business that my team and I had built, we were able to IPO Laird in 2020 for $184 million valuation. Wow. Woo, liked that one. In 2023, the company brought on a new CEO whose background was with Whitewave and Danone. And so his focus on the business was really to deprioritize online sales and pivot to, really expanding the retail arm of the business. And so, um, in addition to that, he also decided to move the company from Sisters, Oregon to Boulder, where he lives full time. I'm not, guys, I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter. It's fine. Um, sadly, that did mean that almost all of the Oregon employees of the company were forced to relocate or got laid off. And so um, I was in the boat that decided not to relocate. And so I decided that I was going to take that opportunity to take some time off and reflect on what really was important for me in my career. So took 7 months off, traveled the world, rode horses every day. It was okay. Um, and after plenty of therapy disguised as executive coaching, I decided that what I loved most was the challenge, the adrenaline rush that comes from doing really hard shit and getting it right. And so, naturally, my next career step was the biggest yet. That's right. I sold bread. I sold keto bread and organic artisan bread online. Don't do that. Oh, so over the course of 8 months, I was able to turn the bread business profitable. And around that same time, my former team from Laird Superfood had joined a local Bend company that ended up making me an offer I couldn't refuse. And so that company was called System Foods, which is the parent company of our beloved Hum Kombucha, Rebel Protein, and Chameleon Coffee. Y'all, when I tell you that selling kombucha in e-commerce is hard, just believe me, don't do it for yourself. Everything at System was going swimmingly until one day out of the blue, I got a call from a recruiter who told me about this company called Blueprint that was on a mission to help the human race live longer, better lives. And that is how I arrived where I am today at Blueprint. Right now, we sell supplements, nutrition products, skincare, hair care, devices, and I think that's it for right now. But what the future holds is going to blow your socks off. I cannot wait, but I can't talk about it right now. So just know it's going to be cool. But as you can see in my beautiful past, When I say I've sold weird shit, it's true. I'm not lying. Okay, so let's take a poll. Participation time. Think about everything I just listed. Um, knitting needles, yarn, fabric, all the things. Now, show me your hands. Who thinks that knitting needles and yarn were good for e-commerce? Okay. How about fabric and thread? Okay, all right. Coffee creamer? Kids' pajamas. All right, all right, all right. Bread? Kombucha. No, okay, I already told you guys that one. Supplements? Yeah, all right, good, good. Yeah, pretty good. You guys have good intuitions. I like it. So, if you said all of these things, you were correct. And yeah, those guys. Those were learning experiences, those two in the corner there. The bread company I joined after being told that they were already profitable. 8 months later, and having built a proper P&L, I had to sit down with leadership and explain that while we were finally making money, we couldn't afford to grow our business. The economics simply don't work. You're talking cold chain, you're talking dependencies on weather, all sorts of problems. And then kombucha, let's just say I became an expert in why fermented beverages and weather don't mix. All right, so as a general rule, please avoid products that can explode, like kombucha, will mold or perish quickly, like bread, and are super fragile, basically anything glass. There you go. That's the end. No. Okay, so what does make a good e-commerce product? First, dry and ambient. Products that don't need refrigeration or special handling work with every fulfillment option. We're talking third-party logistics, Amazon FBA, international shipping. You have a lot more opportunity with products that are not dependent upon a refrigerator. They provide lower risk, longer shelf life, fewer write-offs, which means better margins. Second, light and standard size packages. This is about shipping economics. Heavy or oversized items trigger dimensional weight surcharges. That adds up, believe me. They need custom packaging. They break more in transit. Your customers get pissed because of delays. It ends up costing a lot more money. So, the best e commerce products live between these two boxes here. They're easy to store, they're easy to ship, and they arrive intact. Okay, so then, in case you don't believe me, let's just take a look at what Amazon's doing. So, the top categories on Amazon: beauty and personal care. Why? It's small, stable, has a very high perceived value, strong repeat purchase behavior. Health, supplements, and wellness. Heyo. Yep, we're doing well because we have high perceived value, reoccurring demand. It's lightweight and long shelf life. The home and kitchen category. This, I want to clarify, this is the durable stuff. This is your Tupperware. This is your paper towels. This is not your stand mixers. Don't sell those. They're expensive and heavy. But when you look at cleaning supplies and those types of things, you're looking at a massive market size. So does everybody know what TAM means? Total addressable market? Okay, so if I say that, that's what I mean. Massive TAM. Lightweight products, long shelf life, standard size boxes. You get the gist, right? So the common threads, really, strong repeat purchase behavior, non-perishable with a long shelf life, high perceived value, standardized compressed shipping packages. So that's what to think about when you're thinking about products. Now I want to talk a little bit about where do you start? Because this is actually a really, really difficult decision for a lot of brands. And I think if there's one takeaway for you today, it's to know the pros and cons of both. So if you start with D2C, you're doing so because you want control. You own that customer relationship, where on Amazon, you do not. You own your data. You do not on Amazon. You can build a brand to a certain extent on Amazon, but not well. And you get to keep more of your margin because you're not paying the 15 to 30% of Amazon fees to sell your product. You also have the flexibility to experiment. So whether you're testing new pricing, you're testing bundles, you're testing gifts with purchase, whatever you want to test on your website, whatever you think might work, you can do on your owned property. You cannot do that on Amazon for a variety of reasons. But last but not least, your website is an asset that you own. You aren't at the mercy of the ever changing platform policy changes and fee structures that Amazon presents. There are some downsides to e commerce on your own direct website, but these are the plus sides of it. Now, for Amazon, start there if you need traffic and purchase velocity to happen fast. There are hundreds of millions of active buyers built in on Amazon every day. They're coming, they're looking for something, and they don't think before they purchase. And I know all of you are guilty of this because I sure am. You can leverage their fulfillment center. So you don't have to stand up a 3PL or a partner in a shipping account, which is complex and difficult. So that's great. And, it's great because Amazon's customers trust them. If something goes wrong, Amazon's going to fix it. And so you, again, are eliminating that barrier to purchase very, very quickly through an Amazon product. But the key question here when you're making the decision as to where to start is, can your margins support it? And can you afford to advertise on Amazon? Because more and more every day, Amazon is making its channel a pay-to-play channel. Organic listings are a thing of the past. You're not going to show up on search unless you're paying for it. So be prepared to come in with guns ablazing and money to spend if you're going to start on Amazon, or else you're just going to sit there and have aging inventory. Nobody wants that. So if you have the cash in the bank and you have the margins, and you need the velocity quickly, Amazon's a great place to start. Most successful brands eventually do both, but you have to start somewhere, and where you start really depends on where you're at financially, what your goals are, and your long-term kind of plan for growing your business. All right. Warning. Next few slides are going to be a little bit dry, but they're actually really important. I know that all of you in here as entrepreneurs are big dreamers. It's so much fun to think about like how you're going to grow your business and how great it's going to be and the colors of the things that you're going to sell. But the next few slides, these are the grind, and they're actually really critical. So first off, we're going to talk about the channel P&L. A channel P&L lets you understand the true profitability of your channels. So if I'm talking Amazon and D2C, they are not equal. We don't look at them as a blend. One of them is very profitable. The other might not be as profitable. Having them separated is very important. Amazon might look like it's crushing on revenue, but once you account for all the fees, is it actually profitable? It helps you make better strategic decisions. Where should you invest? What levers are you going to be pulling? Can you renegotiate your shipping rates? Can you reduce your COGS? It tells you how much you can afford to spend on marketing before you start losing money. And if you're ever raising capital, I'm sure anybody in finance here knows this, they're going to want to see this P&L. So let's just quickly look at what that looks like. And keep in mind, I'm not a finance person. I'm not an accounting. My P&Ls are basically calculators, and it's rough inputs, but it gives you directional guidance. So this is a hypothetical D2C business. I said we're doing about $200,000 in gross revenue in a month after discounts, everything. We're looking at $198,000 in net revenue. Add in our COGS, then selling fees, all the things. So my gross margin here is about 75%, which is very healthy, looks great. Adding in your selling fees, your media, headcount, agency fees. At the end of the day, the business on 200,000 of revenue is making 25,000 in operating profit, which is about 12.5%. Is that good? Eh, I think it's pretty good, but it depends. But at least once you fill all of this out, you'll know. And so I do want to mention I am planning to send the templates for these calculators to the EDCO team. So if you want them, you can just reach out. I have a little section here on the side called Your Inputs. So assume you are having a big sale in a month, your blended overall discounts are going to be 5%. You can add that there. Your COGS, 25%, all that good stuff. This is basically just a calculator for you to use to try and understand where your P&L is at today. And then Amazon's P&L, well, it's complicated, but Amazon is complex because most sellers who operate with Amazon are doing so via fulfilled by Amazon and fulfilled by merchant. This is for a variety of reasons, but this P&L accounts for that. And so the fees are different for each. You have referral fees, fulfillment fees, storage fees, inbound freight, and it all adds up quick. So in this example, this business is making $1 million in revenue. And after all the fees and the agency and the headcount and everything, it comes down to $53,000, or about 5.6%. Now, they're made up numbers. This is not dissimilar, however, to one of my other companies that I've operated. I might have used close figures. So what you have to decide when you're figuring out whether you want to operate on a D2C business or Amazon is what matters most, profitability or volume. All right, then the next helpful tool that I wanted to share with you is the product P&L. So this is a little bit of a level deeper, and it's the tool that I start with generally and then build the channel P&L, but I'll get into that in a little bit. So your channel overall might be profitable, but are all of your products? Are your winners subsidizing your losers? You don't know until you have this tool. Product P&Ls help you decide which SKUs to keep, which to kill, which to take price on, and which to revisit with your suppliers. They inform your pricing, they guide your marketing. Maybe your best acquisition products aren't your highest margin products. And so maybe you need to shift things around a little bit, merchandise a little bit differently. They help you negotiate with your suppliers too. We have a supplier at Blueprint that was charging us basically their market rates on everything, and we went to them and we said, "We're not taking any profit on this product. We're gonna cut it." And they said, "Oh wait, no." Suddenly they had 25% discount to give. So having the numbers in front of you really does help you make better decisions and have those really frank conversations. And most importantly, I think they reveal complexity. So you may have 50 SKUs, but only 10 of them are driving real profit. That complexity has secondary costs. Not only are you investing working capital into producing those other SKUs, you're taking up inventory space, but more importantly, you're probably postponing the production of your most important products. And so this is a really important thing. This is an exercise we ran through at Blueprint when I first got there. And as a result, we're cutting about a dozen products. And I don't feel bad about it. So over the next couple of slides, again, I'm going to make these available for you, but I put together a sample product P&L using a skincare brand because I have skincare at Blueprint and I was able to get similar COGS to put into this P&L here. But so you can kind of see how the math all plays out. One note is that your paid media for Amazon or for direct to consumer, we call that the tacos. And it's basically how much you spend as a percentage of your revenue. And so right now, Blueprint spends about 20% on media as it pertains to our revenue. So you can go through these later. I don't want to spend all night looking at spreadsheets. I'm sure you do not either. So Oh, and one last thing. If you do start to do the Amazon P&L, this is available within the Amazon Seller Central. It's called the Reports Repository, and this will have all the inputs that you need to populate your guy here. So I just wanted to have a little visual for that. Those are all of my slides, but I have a closing statement. So I guess the takeaway, e-commerce isn't mysterious, it's not magical, it's logistics and it's math. Two things that you can learn pretty easily. The logistics part, don't ship things that explode, mold, or shatter. I learned this the expensive way so that you don't have to. And then the math part, build your P&Ls early and often. It can be tedious. If you're not a nerd like me, it is tedious. I love it. But for most, I'm sure you'd rather work on your product or marketing or literally anything else. But it's the difference between building something sustainable and building something that slowly drains your bank account. So, weird products, they can be great products. I've built my entire career on them. The customers who want the weird things typically are really good customers. And so if you find your niche, find your foothold, you're going to be in good company. They build communities around them. They leave 5-star reviews. They came back month after month. They're great. So go find your weird thing. Make sure it ships well. Run the numbers. And please, 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 for the love of everything, don't ship bread. Okay.
Thank you so much. This was so fun, and I learned so much. I'll never look at a website the same again. I'm like, I'm going to be emailing asking for P&Ls from here on out. So, questions for Alisha? Okay, really? Okay, tell me like horror story on the bread. I need just a little tidbit. What happened with the bread? Because I have ordered bread online.
Have you?
Yeah.
From who?
A really small company called
Wild Crate or
Simple
something?
Needs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keto bread in particular is really temperamental. And I remember we had a customer who was like full in on the keto lifestyle, and they were like, oh, finally, I've got bread. And their local grocery store had stopped selling it, so they bought from us. They bought 20 loaves of bread during a heat wave, and it all arrived and it was all moldy. And fear not, we got 20 pictures of moldy bread that we got to go through, and it was just awful. No,
Yeah.
it's just awful. It's not realistic. Like, I say this about bread, but really, I mean, you could say the same thing about the vegan coffee creamer, right? Like, heat and weather can be really impactful on food. And so, while I'm joking a lot here, anything that is perishable, anything that has sensitivity to weather, think twice about using it. It can be really difficult, especially from a logistics perspective.
Yeah, I remember there's like a supplement company and they have these little kind of soft gels, and people were getting the package in shipped to their house, and it was just one soft gel. It
Yep.
was just one giant, like you just take a nibble off of it and then put it back in the jar. Like, yeah, nightmare.
Hey, did you study Blueprint before I came? We
Wait,
had
that
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 happen.
happened to you guys? Oh God, I'm sorry to hear it.
We had to reformulate one of our supplements from a soft gel to a capsule because of it.
Oh my gosh, what a nightmare. It's just like one giant gummy.
Oh yeah.
Gross.
And it was
How do you
was
recover from
red.
that? Yeah, of course it was. Okay, any other questions for Alicia?
Yeah.
Yes, here we go. The vibe and the feel at Laird. Can you
Yeah.
speak to it?
You guys, I'm sorry. I cuss like a sailor. Yeah, no, not at all. I loved every minute, to be honest with you, up until the very end. The Bend, Oregon community is unmatched anywhere you go. My best friend in the world was my CFO at Laird. We're a tight knit community, and while we started out as this tiny little thing in Sisters, that that was above a gym that stunk constantly. vibes were good. Vibes were good. And we grew really fast, and everybody was in it together. And I mean, when we hit a stumbling block, we did it together. It was truly one of the best times. And so, while I am bitter about Jason Veith being who he is and doing what he's done, I still buy from the company because I do support the backbone of what it represents.
That's great to hear. Are you okay talking about with what you think happened
With the
with the
layoffs,
company? Yeah.
sure. I mean, there's not much to say about it, right? I think it triggered some. I can't remember what they call it, but it was like when over 60% of your company gets laid off, it's a whole thing. Um, I'd say they were really dark days, but at the end, having seen the business grow and pivot and shift its focus, and now having really taken ownership in a few different businesses of the P&L, I understand 100% why they did what they did. At a certain point, D2C and e-commerce caps out. It becomes cost prohibitive to grow, and so what they're looking for is the compounding growth, right? The retail expansion is where they're going to see the majority of their business come from, especially again in grocery. And so, yes, it sucked. Yes, it hurt. Yes, I did a lot of executive coaching. Um, I get it. And I think ultimately it was the right thing for the business at the time, for sure.
I heard they're bringing out a protein coffee
Yeah, they
like
did.
it this week or something. Have you tried it?
I haven't. I'm
Let's get together and try it.
okay.
Okay, whatever.
I'm a psycho with my coffee.
Are
So
you? This could be your second coffee. It's just like, is it like bonus coffee? No, okay. So it's maybe I'll buy the pack. You can try it once.
okay.
Yeah, okay,
Fair.
deal. Okay, other questions for Alisha. Okay, we are all done actually. Okay, we have more questions, but I got the done slide. So excuse me. But
Okay.
hey, so connect with Alisha. Thank you
Please
for being
do.
here. This was amazing, and I hope that you'll stay close.
I will. It was great to talk with you all tonight. Please do find me on LinkedIn. That's the easiest way to get in touch.
I'm going to be finding you on LinkedIn. I have absolutely
do
nothing to
that.
offer you, but I'm just fangirling. So if you'll have me, I'm coming in hot. Okay, great. Thank you. Round of applause for Alisha.